When you say three ninjas, everybody automatically knows what you are talking about. Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum. Three brothers trained in the art of martial arts by their ninja fighting grandpa. We all wanted to be those kids that pulled off those cool fighting moves and fought off bad guys. Three ninjas fulfilled every kid's dream of being cool, fighting villains, doing stuff your parents didn't approve of, impressing the girl, playing Super Mario Bros. 3, and overall, having fun. The plot of the movie is nice and simple. Snyder is tired of FBI agent trying to catch him all the time. It just so happens that that agent is the dad to Colt, Rocky, and Tum Tum, and Snyder is former business partners with Grandpa. He tells him if he doesn't tell his son-in-law to back off, he will kidnap the kids. That's pretty much it. All this leads us to seeing radical fight scenes that inspired us to want to fight off bad guys. The villain Snyder to me is pretty forgettable. He's just some guy with a white suit that yells.
Not us!
Right.
My skin was on the line today.
Right, I forgot.
That cop was Sam Douglas.
Yeah, that doesn't make you a cool villain, which is why you lose in the end. I actually think these three are better bad guys, but they are only in the middle of the movie. They're like a cross between Home Alone and Bill and Ted. They're burglars that break into their house and they have that surfer talk personality. This whole scene is Home Alone. Colt even does the hands to the face thing like Kevin McAllister.
Oh no! Robbers!
Three Ninjas hooks up all the cool movies that were popular with us. Even the cover of the DVD claims it. Crosses Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Home Alone. Some cool bike riding in the neighborhood like from E.T. And to push it even further, we got the butler to Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventure doing double shifts as Snyder's bodyguard, but that's going too far. But anyway, Three Ninjas is a cool movie with a good lesson taught. Only fight if you know you're going to win, and don't show off to be cool. Well, the movie tries to teach that. In the basketball scene, the bullies are playing unfair and pushing and shoving, but at the end, they just decide who cares and pound the bullies, telling us fight if you have to and show off if you want to. Everybody always mentions Three Ninjas like there is only one movie, but did you know there are actually three sequels? Three Ninjas Kick Back, Knuckle Up, and High Noon at Mega Mountain. I should talk about Kick Back first since it was the next one released. But Knuckle Up was filmed back to back with the first film, so Knuckle Up is the true part 2, while Kickback is part 3. Why they're released out of order? I don't know. So how do you top the first film? It had everything we wanted, by adding more fight scenes, a crazier story, and making the fight scenes longer and bigger. The movie even got a PG-13 rating. That's how you know they went all out. So this time we have a new villain, a greedy businessman who wants to build new property on land that is sacred to the Indians. The mayor is also in on this. These people are so bad, they even kidnap one of the Indians that knows their secret to stop them from building. That's how our three ninjas meet Joe. Her dad is kidnapped and they agree to help her. The very first scene, we see these old, grown, nasty men teasing Joe that her dad is gone. That's disgusting. She's just a little girl. What a bunch of losers. They're like 40 years old. Thank goodness Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum teach them a lesson. These villains aren't ninjas, they're just old white men. That makes sense. Indians don't like the white man since they came and took their land, so it's a good symbol from the movie. But they are so aggressive in fight scenes. When the three ninjas are trying to escape through the sewers, these jerks try to burn them to death. These guys ain't playing around. Look how they have Joe's dad held hostage, all tied up with no food or water. Thank goodness they save him. But geez, what's next? Are they going to try to kill him in a car chase scene? Yes, actually they do. Rocky is driving, trying to outrun them. Now this is just awesome. These ninjas not only kick butt, they can also drive also. Knuckle Up truly did go bigger and better with this one. We even get another good lesson from Grandpa. Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum want to be heroes, but he tells them they are looking for trouble, only thinking of themselves. He explains this with a flower, telling us Flower doesn't want to show off being pretty, it just wants to, and they learn this in the end when the Indians win and take down the businessman. They disappear and avoid the spotlight. I think this is a better lesson than the first film, but does it make it better? Almost. Knuckle Up is awesome, even with more fight scenes and crazier villains, but it comes up just a little short for me, but still a worthy sequel seeing our ninjas kicking butt bigger and better. Wish I could say the same for Kickback. What a huge drop for the franchise. Now, First obvious difference is Rocky and Tum Tum are played by different actors. That's unfortunate. They couldn't return. I'm guessing Rocky felt he was getting too old to keep doing these movies. The fight scene in Knuckle Up when they fight in that western area, you can tell Rocky is much older now, probably close to 16 here. He even wears braces. So that's my theory. And as for Tum Tum, I have no clue. At least Colt returns, which is good for me because he's my favorite, and not because his name is the same as mine. But let's give Kickback a fair chance. Grandpa is getting ready to go to Japan to present a dagger he retrieved when he was young to the winner of a tournament. But Grandpa's old friend Koga still holds a grudge that he got the dagger instead of himself, so he hires 3 guys to retrieve it. Sound familiar? Because it's the same sequence from the first one. They're just like the Bill and Ted guys, but not as good or funny. We see the same Home Alone tactics being used. It's just it was funny in the first, but now it's just whatever. Then we have the dads start to want their 3 ninjas to not focus on ninja training and more on baseball. He wants to raise them his way. Now, in the first film, this subject was brought up also, how he didn't like the fighting, but they convinced him their fighting skills come in handy, but now they actually want to do it their dad's way, which upsets Grandpa, so this leads to the whole baseball game. This makes no sense, it feels like a completely different movie. We want fight scenes. Why was this inserted into the movie? Baseball is the last thing I'm thinking of when it comes to 3 ninjas. Kickback released in '94, a year after The Sandlot and Rookie of the Year, and the same year as Angels in the Outfield and Little Big Lead. Now don't get me wrong, I love all 4 of those films, with The Sandlot being one of my favorite movies of all time. So if I wanted baseball, I watched those, not I wish 3 ninjas were playing baseball. I guess the filmmakers thought baseball was so popular, we got to have it in Kickback. How horrible. So after all that nonsense, Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum head to Japan. Now that's kind of cool seeing our heroes in a different country, and we learn more about Grandpa's childhood and see where he grew up. They even meet a girl while in Japan, Mio. What's cool about her is she knows how to fight also, so it's cool seeing her fight alongside the 3 ninjas. Emily from the first film was a typical girl needing to be saved. That was her only purpose. Jo was similar, but her dad was kidnapped, so she was just in huge trouble. So seeing Mio is pretty cool, but it's too bad this movie only has 3 fight scenes. Yeah, only 3. The first film has 5 fight scenes. Knuckle Up has 7 fight scenes, including the car chase. So Kickback having downgraded to only 3 is a huge disappointment. I guess since Knuckle Up had so much action, they figured they needed to tone down drastically, but they went too little and replaced them with those baseball games. Kickback is such a letdown. There is some good like learning more about Grandpa's past and having a female fight alongside, and for me, Colt stopping a bullet from being shot, pretty ridiculous, but way cool. And keep in mind that Kickback was released second, so going from 3 ninjas to Kickback is probably the worst feeling seeing the cast change. Way less fight scenes, just a sad feeling, and by the time Knuckle Up released, you couldn't see it because of the PG-13 rating and most likely turned off by the franchise. So whichever order you watch these films, be prepared for just a big kick to the head. And so last and certainly least is High Noon at Mega Mountain. Right off the bat, completely new cast playing 3 ninjas. The only returning are the parents and grandpa, so already it's hard to be invested. They did keep the tradition of using kids actually trained in martial arts like the other 3 movies. We see them talking about not wanting to do ninja training anymore. Colt and Rocky want to do teen stuff like talk to girls and have jobs. What the? How'd we go from so much beat ups to this? Already a bad sign. It's Tum Tum's birthday, so they are going to celebrate at Mega Mountain. But it just so happens villains Medusa and Lothar take over the theme park and ask the owner for millions of dollars, which leads to all the same stuff again, like the Home Alone garbage and fighting. They even meet a new girl. She's into tech and can hack stuff. It's hard to care about this 4th installment. It adds nothing new. No new lesson, same formula, but way worse. Actually, Mega Mountain does do something none of the others do. The villains actually shoot guns. All the guns in the first 2 are never shot. Koga does fire his pistol and Kickback, but it's blocked by Colt. But here, they fire away. So about time, I guess, but too bad nobody cares at this point. Not even Hulk Hogan can save this movie. He plays Dave Dragon and has some fight scenes along the ninjas. Now, Knuckle Up took the action over the top, but in a good way. In Mega Mountain, it's just so cartoonish. We see Rocky on one of the rides high up. We see them blow up an entire boat. I'm done. No more, please. Please end. Grandpa doesn't even have one fight scene. He's just in the beginning and the end. For good reason, too. Look how old he looks. So sad to see him fight, and then here he's old, fat, can barely talk. These movies really suck the life out of him. So how does the final scene in a Three Ninjas movie end? With Tum Tum blowing out his birthday cake candle. What a perfect analogy. That little light of fire represents what the Three Ninjas franchise had left. Once that light burned, it's over. So heartbreaking seeing Three Ninjas being sucked every penny out of, ending with this trash of a movie, with Mega Mountain being probably the most unnecessary sequel ever made. Let's remember where it all began with the first, and I know what you're all thinking. You really thought I'd forget? How could I forget the most memorable quote from Three Ninjas?
Emily, Rocky loves Emily. Rocky loves Emily. All right with you? Loves
Fine, but don't be
Emily.
late.
Rocky loves Emily. Rocky.
Three Ninjas to me will always represent us kids of using our imagination on fighting like a ninja, beating up bad guys, and overall having fun.